Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Kevin Wells again in the host chair tonight for Luke Stuckmeyer alongside Cody Delmendo, and the pitch doctor joining us, Brendan Miller. Cubs lose 8-3 to kick off the second half of the season. The Boston Red Sox just had their number all night. Better pitching, hit the ball out of the park 6 times. First of all, before we start the show, if you are tuned in, hope you're safe and healthy. A lot of crazy weather around Chicagoland right now. DuPage County saw some tornadoes out west and some crazy lightning and storms. So if you are tuned in, please be safe. Hopefully you're riding out the storm in a safe spot. But again, tonight was a really tough one for the Cubs, Cody. Brayan Bello was great for the Red Sox tonight. Ton of swing and miss. Fastball looked good. And Kyle Hendricks just a forgettable outing, you know.
Brendan Miller is also here too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. Yeah.
What's up, dude?
He's actually joining us for postgame for once. It's kind of nice. I know Corey is probably pissed that you're here and not him, but you know.
No, I think Corey's having just a fine night. I'm the one dealing with this misery we got going on.
That's true. I mean, that's the spin zone, is he doesn't have to sit here and talk about this game.
He planned it well. I did not.
Anyway, yeah, tonight Kyle Hendricks didn't have it. And what's weird is that if you go back and watch the first inning, it looked like maybe the best half inning of the season for him, and then it just fell apart from there. And I'm not Brendan. I don't like all the graphics and the heat maps and stuff. I don't understand it. All I know is that Kyle Hendricks' success is based off painting the edges, getting people to swing and miss at that changeup away, and inducing soft contact. And he was giving up a lot of hard contact tonight, and a lot of it went over the fence. 4 homers given up. He just didn't give them a real chance to win. You know, I thought maybe after the 4th inning, maybe he could go into the 5th. David Ross didn't really risk it. He just 8 hits, struck out 5, didn't walk anyone. But again, he gave up too much hard contact, and that's the game you play with Kyle Hendricks. You know, like he's as good as he's been in the biggest moments of his Cubs career. He's also, he's had games where it's like this, where if you leave something over the plate that's not, it's not fast because he's a pitch to contact guy, like hitters are going to hit it out. So, yeah, it was a very disappointing effort coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah, he was doing so well before tonight. If you look at his command scores, he was hitting the edges with more frequency than like 90% of pitchers, and that's what he was doing when he was at his best. But pitchers like Kyle, who don't get that many whiffs, this tends to happen. We saw this with John Lester for a few times throughout his tenure. He's also someone who did not get that many whiffs, and it happens. Unfortunately, it happened on the first game back from the All-Star break, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away from a trade deadline. Couldn't be worse timing, but this tends to happen when the Cubs put themselves in a position like this, where one of these starts puts all of us in this terrible mood. Are we supposed to be surprised with the roster so far? I don't think so. It's frustrating that we're even at this point.
Yeah, if there's any silver lining at all to this, and there's really not, because there was a lot of mental mistakes today. We saw Morel kind of misplay that ball at second base. Nico kind of let it go through. There was a clear path. That ended up leading to a run on a sac fly, and then we saw another home run from Devers when they could have been out of the inning. We saw a base running mishap by Tucker Barnhart earlier, so
that was
just a lot. Yeah, just a lot of little things tonight where you could chalk it up to rust, you could chalk it up to whatever. But if there's any silver lining to this at all, it's that Brayan Bello is. Red Sox fans have a real good reason to be smiling. He looks like the real deal. He's had a great month. He had another really nice game tonight, and if this is the game you're going to lose, it's fine, because you got Stroman and Steele going tomorrow now, or Stroman and Steele going the rest of the weekend. So that's the only silver lining you really get. But some of the mental mistakes tonight, and again, more of the same problems that persisted, Brendan and Cody, from the first half of the season. I mean, Seiya hitting the ball on the ground. Happ another 0 for 4 night tonight. Not the only guy really putting the ball in the air when the ball was flying out of the ballpark was Cody Bellinger again. And I'm just not sure.
Miles Mastroboni almost went yard.
Yeah, Mastrobuoni too. Yeah, he hit one.
See, Brendan knows.
There's
He
a spin
knows.
zone.
There's your. That's gonna piss off the chat, Brendan. Look what you did. Look what you. See, I'm not the only one who stands Miles Mastrobuoni for the sake of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, and Vanilla Chill in the chat. It sucks if you trade Belly. You have signaled we aren't trying to win this year anymore, but you kind of have to trade Belly because he's not I don't know if he's going to resign or not, but it's difficult, right? Like Bellinger's playing his best baseball right now, and it almost looks as if it's a tryout for another team. Again, one game in, you still got 16 more before the trade deadline, 2 more against a very good Red Sox lineup. They've had guys hitting the ball for the last month of the year. And then you play a bunch of sub 500 teams. So it's not all dead yet. We can pump the brakes a little bit. If this is the game you're going to lose, this is the game you're going to, it's okay, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
Honestly, like, every loss to me is anything but okay at this point. It's like this team is on the ropes. Like, these are the games where it does irritate me. When you have mental gaffes and you have base running mistakes from your third, backup to the backup catcher, it's like, what are we doing? Like, clean up this game. I'm seeing Barbara asking if you're Luke Stuckmeyer's son, Kevin. I can see that.
Yeah, she always asks that. Every time Kevin's here, she always asks.
It's been the ongoing Barb joke, yes. I'm not Luke Stuckmeyer's real son, but I do like it for the bit of the bit. I do like it for the bit of the show. I'll go with it.
Yeah. Also, people are very upset about what you said about Mastrobuoni too. But
I missed that.
We played into it. No one can take a joke whenever the Cubs lose. It's fine.
Listen, okay, man. All we have right now are jokes. Okay, if I lose jokes, what else do we have? Come on, it's a Friday night. There's a tornado in your guys' backyard over there. Let's go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Cora, before we get deeper into this game, trying to give me a heart attack, pulling your pitcher out, up 5 runs with 2 outs in a storm right over the left field bleachers. You could see the lightning in the background. They had to clear out the stadium, like the lower bowl of the stadium, because the rain was coming. And it's like, dude, let's get this game in. We don't want to sit through a rain delay. They got it in, and it's over. But
thank God.
You're right, though, Brendan. I mean, it's a frustrating loss because I think we've allowed ourselves to really bet on this team because they've played so many close games this year. They've lost so many close games this year.
Yeah.
Not that this one was a close game at the end, but it was until Mark Leiter gave up that 2-run home run. You really felt like they still had a chance. Had that been a 5-3 game and Tauchman comes up with the bases loaded, you're feeling pretty good about it, right? Instead of an 8-3 game, that's I think that compartmentalizing it and putting it into words, that's the frustrating part about this team is they scrap and claw their way back, and then all of a sudden it's a deeper hole and you can't keep the ball in the ballpark.
I appreciate you trying to find the silver linings, though. Like, at least I appreciate that. When you have Cody and I right now in this mood, someone has to be the beacon of light. So thank you.
To me, the offense tonight outside of Cody Bellinger was exactly like how it's been since May 1st. I mean, what? Tucker Barnhart leads off, the 3rd inning with a double. Tauchman drives him in. The summer of Mike Tauchman continues. It's 4-1. You got Horner coming up. He hits an infield single. And then, like I said yesterday, Ian Happ coming up with runners in scoring position, hitting in the 3-hole again tonight. And what's he do? He pops out at third base. He doesn't even give you a productive out, bro. Doesn't even move him to third base on like a fly ball or something. And listen, I think that them extending Happ and all of that, I still agree with it. They got him on a good deal. It's a team-friendly deal. Like, it's hard to find players as good as Ian Happ. My whole thing is that they're using him in a role or in a spot in the lineup that he just hasn't excelled in all season. And when you have Cody Bellinger mashing baseballs for not just 1-2 days, literally this entire month of July, hitting 5th. Like, I know it's not that much different, but wouldn't you rather had Cody Bellinger up in that moment compared to with no one on?
You're right. It's not that different, but it made a difference tonight. Yeah.
Like, the hitter in the 3 or the 4 hole is more likely going to come up with guys on base than the guy in the 5th hole. I don't know if that's actually true, but I always feel like that's
that's
true.
the math. Those
Don't let
metrics. Those are
good
metrics.
Delmetrics says more guys are going to be on base when with the 3 or the 4 hitter coming up compared to the 5th. Whatever. You can agree to disagree with that if you don't agree with me. All I'm saying is there's going to be more of those opportunities with guys in that 3 or the 4 hole. And Ian Happ, again, one game. He could definitely have a better game tomorrow. I give more credit to Brayan Bello than anything else tonight because he's been good. We talked about him pregame, but it's just like they refuse to change anything up with that part of the lineup. And Happ and Suzuki both just look miserable in the 3 and the 4 hole tonight, man. Like, if those guys aren't doing anything in those spots, then why not try and move them around and see if that takes some pressure off? You know, because then after Happ pops out the third, Suzuki, I think, grounded out. And like we keep saying, great hard hit rate, but does nothing but hit ground balls right now. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got to get the ball in the air, man. I mean, the power outage for Seiya right now is a problem, and it's a problem when you're batting him in the middle of the lineup. And I totally agree with you. And to your point, I looked it up. At the plate this season, Ian Happ, leading off an inning, so no guys on. He's leading off an inning. Came into the game 13 for 52, 3 homers, 3 RBIs, and 900 OPS, leading off an inning. So speaking to your point of maybe not having him with guys on, maybe he's a little bit more comfortable in that role.
Well, he's been getting on base at a really great clip all season. Yeah. Why can't he just bat leadoff or put him in the 2 hole? You know what I mean?
I'm with you. I mean, the numbers.
I don't know if it's just going to change anything. I don't know if it's going to make the offense better. All I'm asking is for a change. Like, that's all the point that I'm saying is it's insanity, dude. It's insanity doing the same thing over and fucking over, bro. I'm tired of it.
When we have to spend so much time talking about the lineup, that points to just incredible roster flaws. I don't ever want to be talking about the lineup, like, ever. The lineup should be obvious. You should have an obvious 3-hitter and an obvious 4-hitter. And when that doesn't happen, we will have conversations like this. And to your point, Cody, like, my default is always be aggressive and always push the boundaries with decisions. So we saw Ross do that throughout the season with Mastroboni batting leadoff, with Nick Madrigal batting leadoff. Both those guys were in Iowa like 3 games later after they were batting leadoff. So with the logic of batting Seiya and Ian consistently in the heart of the order, 3 and 4, there has to be an underlying reason why they're doing that or why Ross is doing that. I don't understand it. I don't care if you have Bellinger bat, honestly, leadoff. I honestly don't care what the lineup is, as long as you have your best hitters batting in the top 5. But sure, move Happ to the second spot, move Seiya to the leadoff spot, move Nico down if you want. Like, sure, I have no problem with that. But I don't think our conversations and our overall feel of this team would drastically change. We may have a few more runs here or there, but I don't know, man. Like this roster and this lineup has such gaping holes in it. I don't think it's going to matter that much, unfortunately. But I hear you.
And we saw in the chat earlier, I don't remember who commented it. I don't remember who commented it, but it said the Cubs need, and it really does boil down to this. I mean, this is Delmetrics at its finest. The Cubs need a superstar. There's too many replacement level players on this team. Yes, that's an obvious one. And what I really liked, and we'll get to Jed Hoyer, who spoke to the media before today's game about the trade deadline, about the draft a little bit. We'll hear his thoughts on what they're trying to do and where they're how they're gauging their day-to-day thoughts about what they're going to do depending on if they win, if they lose, who are they going to sell. Jed kind of goes through that in a bite, but what David Ross said on the broadcast tonight, I really liked that he really didn't hold back any punches when he said, we're not getting any production from the first base position. We all know that. Everybody in the chat, us three, we're watching these games. It's obvious. I mean, the first base position, they're not getting any power. They're not getting any offensive production there. And Ross said that. He goes, we need to find a bat for the first base role. We need to find a third base. We need to find some power. That is obvious. We've talked about that. But it was nice to hear that from him a little bit because, let's be honest, this Jared Young thing's not working right now. Not to say it won't work in the future, But I mean, he has been abysmal at the plate. He has 2 hits in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. I mean, or 2 hits in 8 games, excuse me. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? The Jared Young experience has to come to an end here pretty soon. And I see a lot of people talking about, Canario had 2 hits tonight in minors. Mervis had Mervis. Yeah, both had 2 hits. It might be time to flip the switch on Mervis again.
It's been time for a handful of those dudes down in Iowa, in some aspect at least, and they've given the run for a lot of dudes and for a handful of them, I don't really understand. I mean, it's a little bit of me like supporting Miles Mastrobuoni, but I know that he hasn't been good, guys. Like, get off my ass about it, all right? But yeah, like Nelson Velasquez, for example, like, I don't think he's a good outfielder, but we've had DH problems all season. Why haven't you given him a shot to really try and own in that?
It's kind of head scratching,
right?
Honestly.
Especially now that Trey Mancini hasn't proved to be a consistently good at bat, right? Like, so I don't know why they haven't given Velasquez that opportunity. Mervis, I never thought they should have sent him down to begin with. Kind of talked about that in the pregame. And then Canario, good to see him back healthy. Get him some more bats. He'll be up at some point before the season ends. But anyway, yeah, they just like Brennan said, like they have a lot of guys that, you don't know what you're going to get out of a handful of them. And what makes it even more frustrating though is that your guys that you're paying to not necessarily be superstars, but even just be star players aren't even being star players. And that has been Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki, man. Like, I gave Seiya Suzuki the time. He's coming off the oblique injury. I didn't freak out after a week, 2 weeks, a month. I gave him time. Dude, he's making a lot of money to be a run producer and play right field for this franchise, and you still have him for another, 3 years after this, and he has 6 homers, and he's just not giving you anything. Like, it's frustrating. And Ian Happ's coming off the All-Star year. He had a great April, got paid, and it's been downhill since. I don't know what it is. To me, the reason I bring up the spot in the lineup is sometimes that shit gets in your head, and you feel like you have to do more. So my thinking is if you put him in a position where there's not as much pressure, maybe you can start to get that production that you were getting from him again. It's the only reason I really bring it up. Would I love for him to excel in the 3-hole? Yes, because we've seen him show power. We've seen him show that he can drive runs in. He just ain't doing it. And it's not just for a week or two. It's been months, actual months. So I'm out of ideas, bro.
I think all of us are. I think their value is written in their contracts. Like, Happ is making $60 million. Seiya's making $80 million. Yeah, that's a lot of money, but they're not making 150 plus, 200 plus. The reason they're not, because there's an inherent level of risk in their profiles. And those are the 2 guys who you're batting 3rd and 4th. You're accepting that risk. You're accepting games like tonight and stretches like we've seen over the past 2 weeks. And that's being reflected in the amount of money they're making. In years past, when the Cubs were at the top tier of the league, they had pre-arb players, they had expensive players, but ultimately a lot of their guys through arbitration were making and breaking records in arbitration because they were clear, bona fide power, middle of the order guys. Rizzo, Bryant, they don't have that right now. So Ian Happ is a good hitter. Is he a 3 and 4 hitter on a playoff caliber team? Absolutely not. Seiya, would you go into a year expecting to win 100 games, giving Seiya the bulk majority of cleanup at-bats? Absolutely not. That's just not good process. So a lot of the blame, or maybe blame's a harsh word, I don't even know what the Cubs' intention was with their front office and their decisions, but like, this is a team they put out. It hasn't worked. The lineup's not producing. They have no production from first base. Third base has been a weird black hole. This is what you are willing to risk when you make the decisions or fail to hit on the margins with the decisions that you did make with Mancini and Hosmer. And as a result, as a fan, you can give confidence or lack of confidence to the front office going forward. For me, I lack that surefire confidence in this front office right now. It doesn't discount a lot of the moves that we've seen that have been good. I think Dansby signing has been above my expectations, many fans' expectations. I think how they've developed some pitchers over the past 3 years has been really encouraging. I like the extension to Ian Happ, the development of Nico, and buying out his pre-arb years is arguably a good decision. But overall, it doesn't discount a lot of the limitations and a lot of the weaknesses and the continuous lack of free agent veteran signings that have really dug this team perhaps to another sell-off in July. And to me, that's not acceptable despite some of the good things going on in this front office.
I agree.
You said that very well. I agree 100%. A sell-off, I don't think we're going to see a sell-off either, truthfully. I think we'll see some guys potentially go. It'll be a soft sell. I know that's a phrase you've kind of been using, Cody, a little bit. Anyway, we have a super chat. You brought up Rizzo and Bryant, and that was one of them from Baseball Junkie. Watched KB and Riz take each other on in Denver. KB homered. They talked about the last out of Game 7. Kept on the Cubs. Baseball is romantic. $5 from Baseball Junkie.
Did the Yankees and the Rockies play tonight?
They must have, yeah. Super chat number 2.
I can't watch that video. I can't see any.
Yeah, I don't want to see that video
you guys are like family. You're all so relatable and real. Love tuning in every night, even after a loss. More entertaining than a game. Baseball Junkie, very nice of you.
Thanks, bro.
We appreciate the $10 from the 2 super chats from you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a sell-off. But the lineup and the roster construction, like any team, has its flaws. It is just difficult, though, to see them keep giving chances to Mastrobuoni and Jared Young and Tucker Barnhart. All those guys playing in the same lineup. I know they got guys on the IL. Their hands are kind of tied, but I don't believe you should be playing all 3 of those guys in the same lineup. Like, you weren't forced to do that. You're coming off the All-Star break. Guys are healthy. You had Gomes and Amaya available. Amaya's got a better ERA with Hendricks than Barnhart does in his last couple starts. Yeah. So I thought maybe Hendricks just preferred Tucker, but that sounds possible. Like more of a lineup decision. And
but they definitely went with the matchup game with the lineup because lefties hit better against Bello than righties have this year. And would I say it's significant? I think it was around like 280 compared to like 220, somewhere around that.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely
for like lefties were hitting like 280, righties were hitting like 220 against him. That's a roundup, by the way. But I'm just saying that's my guess on why Mastrobuoni and Barnhart and Young were in the lineup. But also with Young, it's like we talked about in pregame, I was kind of surprised at least that Mervis didn't get the call back up to start the second half of the year. It's not like Jared Young has done much to impress us at all.
Matchups shouldn't matter with those guys. They're not hitting anybody. They're not hitting anybody right now. So that's my complaint. If again the lineup like we said, Brendan, shouldn't matter as much as it does, and I don't think it mattered a whole lot tonight. I really just think that the Red Sox are a good team. And they have guys hitting the ball like crazy right now. They hit 6 home runs tonight. They came in. They were talking about this a lot on the broadcast tonight. Came in and 22nd in the league in home runs. Hit the ball out of the park 6 times tonight. No cheap shots either. Maybe one of them kind of snuck out. The wind definitely helped a few. But, gosh, I mean, Rafael Devers, there's your third base power. Dude smoked 2 home runs tonight.
Over $300 million, Rafael Devers, right?
And he appears to be worth it, right? Your all-star third baseman, and the Red Sox made a decision. They made a decision not to pay Mookie Betts or Xander Bogaerts, and they chose to keep Devers, and it seems to be working out for them for right now. The other guy that they have is Masada Yoshida. I mean, he's been great. He has an 8-game hitting streak, and I saw this too from a Red Sox guy, JP Long on Red Sox Twitter. Yoshida has 8 straight multi-hit games. That's the longest of any lefty in their franchise since who? Can you guess?
I don't want to guess because I don't care.
Ted Williams in 1940. So, I mean, that's a pretty great stat. I mean, they got a lineup. They're hitting the ball all over the place, and the Cubs right now don't have the replacement guys to come up and do that, and that's the unfortunate part.
This episode, we'll look back on this like hopefully 3-4 years from now and be like, oh my God, How dark were those times? We're talking about Jared Young, Matt Mervis coming up who's struggling. We're talking about Tucker Barnhart, Miles Mastroboni, Nick Madrigal in the lineup. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is a top tier market. This is a top tier, should be a top tier run organization. You look at the Dodgers, you look at all these teams who have been consistently successful across multiple eras, and we're in this position. So, we've been doing this for so long. I'm exhausted talking about the lineup. I'm exhausted talking about David Ross's decisions. Like, these decisions should not even be on the table. Like, everything to me has to be an obvious decision. It was obvious. I keep saying obvious. It's like the key word of the season. It was obvious in 2016. There was never a guess of, oh, no, I don't know if we should be batting Ben Zobrist fourth, which he did most of the time, because half the lineup was hitting 30-plus home runs. It didn't matter who batted where. Everyone on that team hit. The pitching staff went deep almost every start. That was a historical run from the pitching staff. The defense was top tier. The base running was the best we've seen in years. There was never a second guess. So unfortunately, we're second guessing nonstop. I don't have the answers. Kevin, don't have the answers. Cody, you have no answers. It's not our job.
Yeah, they're far away from having that lineup and being top notch and everything.
It's not even clear that it's around the corner, and that's to me something I can't shake. Like, yes, there's a lot of good things going on in this organization, but tell me, like, in the farm system, where are you going to get that high impact value? You have to go outside the organization to get it. And I love Pete Crow Armstrong, the attitude. I'm going to love that guy when he's up, right? That all-out winning attitude. I think Owen Casey's power profile is really interesting, but it comes with a high degree of risk given the strikeouts, given the whiffs. Outside that, everything is so volatile. The ceiling's quite high. The volume of prospects is quite high, but it is very volatile. And it leaves me incredibly unsettled.
Yeah. I mean, to close out this segment, I mean, I hear Brennan and pretty much agree with most of what he's saying, like, on like where the organization is right now. Like, I feel like every other week or so, I'm like, I talk myself into thinking that around the corner could come if this team could just put it together. And as much as we sat here about how flawed this roster is and everything, we also have sat here and said that this team should have a better record than what it has.
Yeah, and I mean, their expected record should be, it was, according to their run differential, was 47 and 43. Baseball's a weird sport. You're going to lose games that you're supposed to win and vice versa.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to blow a game 6-0 to the Brewers. You're not supposed to blow a game 6-1 to the Astros on my fucking birthday. Yeah, you're not supposed to blow a game 4-0 to the Angels because of a freaking error at first base. You're not supposed to blow a 2-0 lead against the Dodgers on the road when you actually think you have a closer, but you haven't named a closer because you refuse to name a closer. I mean, I could keep going. Like, it's dumb shit like that. And like Brennan said, it's like there's a lot of questions with everything. But at the same time, they have had a lot of games where they should have won, but one guy or two guys didn't have it that night, and they blow a huge lead, whatever. That didn't happen tonight. They just didn't show up and play correctly in all facets of the game. But I guess that's what makes it so much more frustrating to me. Because last year it was easy to just like get over the fact that they weren't good. It took me longer than a lot of you guys. But like,
why is that, you think? Like, why? Because I was the same way. Like, the losses last year was like easier to get over, right? Like this
because
year,
there was no expectations last year,
right?
Like as much as I wanted to think that maybe they could win 80 games, like I knew that there were no expectations and that they really didn't try hard enough to make the team better. This offseason, they literally put $300 million into the team, and here we are, and we're only a little bit different. Like we're instead of, oh, we know that we're selling, we're just going back every other day, depending on if the team wins or loses, discussing if they're going to sell or buy. And it's just like Brendan said, it's exhausting, dude. Like,
it's exhausting. Like
it
really is. And like one last, because I can go on for this for hours, but like it's hard to like express all this, right? Because like in one sense, you guys do these shows every day. I do it once a week with Corey, but like there are some times where it's like, man, am I coming off too optimistic? Am I coming off as too negative? And it's this weird balance. So it's like trying to find the middle ground where it's like, okay, I like what's going on in this part of the organization. I really don't like what's going on in this part of the organization. And what I come down to is like my expectations for this front office and this organization are unrealistically high. And I think for a fan, they have to be that way. If the expectation is not to be like where the Rays are at or where the Dodgers are at, then like you're kind of, to me, I'm lying to myself. Like if it's not even approaching that degree of success, I'm not happy about it. I'm not thrilled about it. And like that's kind of where I'm at. And to your point, Cody, like, yeah, it could work. Honestly, you can win World Series. You don't have to be the best run organization. You can fall into a World Series. It's happened for many teams in the past. It's all possible. But to me, I want that year in, year out, consistent success. And right now, that could happen. But in the current moment, it's not clear that it's a likely scenario. It was clear in the mid-2010s. You saw the writing on the wall. You saw Theo and the market inefficiencies with the international free agent signings, breaking that, overspending their pool, using that to trade for Miguel Montero, using that to trade for Aroldis Chapman. Like you saw what was going on from an executive standpoint, and right now you don't see that. You don't see those types of clever, cutting-edge moves, and that concerns me.
Yeah. Okay,
this is certainly a judgment, not a judgment-free zone, because we're judging the hell out of the Cubs lineup right now and what they're moving. But I'll tell you about a place that is a judgment-free zone: Sunnyside.
Oh,
hey. Sunnyside, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. It's a place where all kind of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, no matter where you are on your cannabis journey. Easy online ordering, in-store pickup, great transparent loyalty programs with Sunnyside Rewards. Our guy Corey today made a stop at the Sunnyside in Wrigleyville, walked by, sent us a little fun photo with his Shady Rays on, walking back. So again, quick in-store pickup. He's been there a handful of times. He loves it. Illinois' favorite dispensary, from the city to the suburbs, Wrigleyville to River North, Champaign to South Beloit. And now an athlete that made me feel really good this week, kind of like Sunnyside does when after a bad Cubs loss, I'll go home and smoke it over. Justin Steele made me feel pretty good this week. He's my athlete of the week for Sunnyside.
Cody Bellinger, he made me feel good. Miles Mastroboni hitting those fly balls to the warning track. Brendan, I know those made both of us feel great.
Gosh,
unreal.
Yes.
I got out of my seat. I was shaking. I was like, oh, is this finally it? Yeah.
No.
It was just fun to watch Justin Steele in the All-Star game today. It was a nice high to see a Cubs pitcher have success on the national TV level. It was fun. Through August, head to Sunnyside. Make sure you use that code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. Yeah, 25% off your total order. One use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's only for new customers. Anyone can use that code, though. Pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 or over. And an Illinois medicine card holder.
So as you see on our table here, Foco. We love Foco. This Clark the Cub bobblehead came from Foco. I think we have a Hayden Wisniewski one around here somewhere too. I'm still high on him. You can also go get your Matt Schwarmer one. I know Brennan was really hot. He really was interested in Matt Schwarmer last year.
Whoa.
Just like Daniel
Don't
Norris.
Throw me under the bus. Oh, wow. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
There's the optimism.
Gets the best of us. Go get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. It's baseball season. Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. Get decorations. Foco has donated a few awesome pieces to our set. Like I said, go show them some love. Check out foco.com. Or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use promo code CHGO for 10% off. Before we start the next segment, we should tell everyone about the Crosstown Takeover we're doing here at in a couple weeks, right?
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
it's going to be so dope.
Cubs Sox. I guess if there's anything that makes us all feel better is the White Sox. I saw we're getting creamed 9-0 tonight, and they're supposed to be in the winning window. We were wondering if maybe we would enter something like that this year. Not nearly as high as expectations, I think, as the Sox. So if that makes you guys feel any better. Anyway, July 26th, Cubs will be at the Cell or Guaranteed Rate Field, wherever you want to call it. We'll do a pregame meetup at 4 o'clock at the Carrick Pub, which is in Oak Forest. And then we'll all shuttle to the game from the bar. We'll all be sitting in Section 529. If you get a ticket to this event, it pays for your ticket to the game. You get a free T-shirt, which is showing up on the screen now. It's the 2 newest baseball shirts that we just released here at CHGO. And yeah, you get to hang out with all of us.
You'll see Cody out there in his White Sox one.
Why would you say that?
See Sean Anderson in his Cubs one.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
We'll change it all up just to fool everyone, right? If you don't want to go to the Cell, which I wouldn't blame you, you can go to beautiful historic Wrigley Field on August 16th. We still haven't decided what bar we're going to do the pregame at, but it will be in Wrigleyville, so it'll be walking distance from the ballpark. We'll be sitting in Section 425. Tickets the same thing. You get the free T-shirt plus the ticket to the game. You can hang out with all of us, have some beers. We can just all sit together and bitch about this dumb baseball team we all like. So should be a lot of fun, whether the Cubs are good or bad or whatever you want to call it.
Well, the good thing is with the White Sox, come that game, that quick 2-game set midweek at the rate, that's going to be a shell of the team you see now. A lot of those guys are going to be out of town. The White Sox are abysmal. They're going to be trading. It's going to be a massive sell-off on the south side. So hopefully the Cubs can capture both of those games. I'll be out there on the whatever that Wednesday game is, that 26th or 27th?
26th, yeah.
I'll be out there on the 26th. I know you'll be there.
Yep.
We're going to do a little grilling in the parking lot, having some fun. So that should be a good time. Ryan Herrera, all the White Sox guys will be there too. So, yeah, come out and join us. It should be a really, really good time.
Brennan, you going to fly out from California and join us?
Maybe I will. We'll see.
Why not?
We'll see how good of a
I
mood
would
I am.
love
They
for
keep
that
losing.
to
I don't
actually
know.
happen.
Come on, we need to bury the White Sox together, Brendan.
Okay, we'll see, Kevin. Maybe just for you and Cody, of course.
Cubs drop this one 8-3. Red Sox take game 1 right out of the break. Ryan Herrera is going to join us here coming up shortly from the clubhouse. But we want to get to what Jed Hoyer was talking about pregame, because this is a busy time of year for general managers and all of baseball. You got the draft, you got the trade deadline, you got, phones ringing off the hook, like we'll hear him say in just a moment. And the Cubs are in a spot right now where it looks like they're going to probably be a little bit of both, like you said. It looks like they're going to sell some pieces. Obviously, the big names are Stroman and Bellinger, but in games like tonight, certainly shift the needle, and you think you have more of the recency bias, and you're like, oh, they're definitely going to sell. But listen to what Jed had to say about not taking things day by day.
We have a couple weeks and a lot of phone calls today, but it just picks up in volume and intensity as we go for the next 2 weeks. And I think that we're not about to make any deals today. I think obviously we're going to see where we are, and our hope certainly is that we play well for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, we'll sort of assess, and I don't want this to be a day-to-day assessment type thing. Like obviously it's baseball, but I think we need to make up ground on first place. We need to make up ground on 500. I think that's important.
How hard is this decision for you, knowing that the team has shown some really good signs of playing well together and getting momentum going? At the same time, you have to look at the long-term health of your team.
Yeah, I think these decisions are hard, and like I said, I think we want nothing more than to play really well for the next 2 weeks. But those will just decisions you're asking the question, they're phrasing the question about like what it would be like if we're selling. But I think the decisions are hard no matter what this time of year. I don't think that buyers view their decisions as simply either. It's a complicated time of year, and there's a number of teams that are in sort of similar positions, and so I think a lot will play out around baseball over the 2 weeks now here and elsewhere in terms of teams figuring out exactly where they are and making their best estimate of that at the right time and making decisions.
So there's Jed Hoyer talking about the trade deadline, and we need to get back to 500. We need to make up ground on our division. So he didn't give up too many specifics there. It was a little vague, but I don't know how you guys felt watching that, and I want to hear, did you hear any optimism in his voice? Did you hear any positive sign, anything like, hey, we'd love to keep this around, because he changed his tune a little bit in the broadcast with when he was sitting with Joe Girardi and Boog talking about Bellinger. When Bellinger hit a home run, he happened to be there and goes, we love the way Cody's played. He's really the coaching staff loves him because he just does everything the right way, and he wants to play every day. But in this little snippet that we just saw, it really doesn't sound like he's committed to anything yet. But then we've heard the reports that he totally is. So what do you guys think? I don't know. I think he's going to buy. I think that they look at their big analytics guys, and they're looking at this team, and they're looking at the lineup right now, and they're, the expected win total. And I think they're looking at that saying, hey, we can win this division. But I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
Brennan, go first.
This team is so many games below 500. Like, if Jed were to go on camera, if he were to go on camera and be like, yeah, we're clear buyers, it would be surprising. If he were to go on camera and say, hey, we're clear sellers, it would also be surprising. So the fact that he was middle ground is not surprising to me. You have to see where you are 2 weeks from now, and I'm sure he's pretty open-minded about everything. The one thing with Jed that I'm curious to see play out is the internal pressure from his selfish point of view, from his selfish job point of view. I imagine if I were in Jed's shoes and you're going through another losing season for the third consecutive year, I would be a little worried about my boss's viewpoint about my performance. So I do wonder if that is going to influence what he does at the trade deadline. And maybe there is long-term security beyond the next year that we don't know about. But if I were Jed, I'd be a little worried right now. And if I were to sell off yet again, I think that would signal to my boss that I don't know if you should really trust that we're going to be winning next year. And if that's going to be a problem, then, I may not sell some of the guys out of pure self-security.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to agree with that. I also just like what Brennan said. It is a bad look to fully sell 3 consecutive trade deadlines after they told us that it's not a rebuild, right? Like,
it's just bad for business. You see it in the ratings,
especially with like Marquee. Marquee's been, pretty much. I love the talent at Marquee is great. It's what they're doing that's kind of. There's a lot of things that they do behind the scenes is kind of what I think is what's failing them, right? The fact that you can't just until recently, or I guess I don't know whenever you can do it, but eventually people will be able to just subscribe to Marquee on like a streaming app or whatever.
Direct to consumer.
But for the last handful, like since it started in 2020, you couldn't do that. So you take WGN away, and then you make it harder for them to watch the Cubs, and it's already bad enough that the Cubs weren't good, and they had the trade deadline in 2021 where you sold off all these guys who helped win the World Series. You didn't even have like those names being able to bring faces in. Like it's been a failure, right? So you have that, the fact that they're in the market that they're in. Like there's plenty of reasons like what Brennan's saying that makes sense onto why Jed wouldn't necessarily fully sell because of his job, and also just given the situation of where the organization is. Again, we've basically been told, without being told in this instance, that they would be starting to ascend fully into full playoff contention by 2024.
Yeah.
And listen, like we've seen a lot of good this year. We've seen a lot of bad. There hasn't been really a middling ground of it. It's good or bad, right? And I'm at a point where if you sell everyone, if you trade Stroman, okay, then who are you going to replace him with? You're going to have to go spend money in the offseason to replace that. Why would you do that?
That's my point.
And it's the same thing with Bellinger. It's like, well, Bellinger has given you Gold Glove defense in center field and arguably even first base. And on top of that, when he's healthy, he is hit for you. And it's not like he's 32, 33 years old. He's 27. Like, it makes all the sense to keep a guy like Bellinger if you plan on being good in 2024. Because, again, this year you came in the year with hopes of maybe winning the division, not full on like favorites, but hopes. If some things worked out, you had some prospects come and do things. Some things have worked out, some things haven't, and that's why you're in this position. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to at least full on sell. It makes more sense to
and what's
maybe
the
add or move a piece.
What's the definition of a full on sell? Is it just
like the last handful of trade deadlines?
Are we talking Bellinger and I'm talking this team right now. A full on, full scale trade deadline would be what? 2 players, Bellinger and Stroman. Would that constitute as a full?
And then go into like Michael Fulmer in your bullpen, maybe Mark Leiter Jr., maybe Julian Merriweather.
That's the thing. I agree. I totally, Brendan, your point is spot on. The job security is there for a little bit, but you're right. Selling off 3 straight deadlines when you have the opportunity right now to keep Stroman around. Again, they're not ones to really extend midseason. That doesn't happen a ton, but I don't think, just from everything we've heard from Ricketts, again, it can be smoke and mirrors, whatever people want to say. It's just my best guess at this point. It doesn't feel like they're going to sell everybody. It really doesn't. They're 6 games under 500. They got an easier schedule coming up. We've talked about that a bunch tonight. I really do not think they're going to trade guys. I don't. Just my gut feeling.
Yeah, I don't have a gut feeling with this. One of the things I struggle with is if by trading Stroman and Bellinger, you take away information that might prove valuable if you want to extend them. The concern I have with both those guys are related to their age and just recent history. With Stroman, he's going to be 33, mid-30s. He's not a guy who lives off of strikeouts. He's cut from that Kyle Hendricks cloth. And those guys typically are hard to project in their mid-30s. I like Stroman. I'm very interested in bringing him back, but I wonder what the market is for him right now. Cody Bellinger has had some very weird, extreme years, coming off some injury-riddled months as well, and extending him now is probably not the right decision either.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So to have these guys in-house is really valuable because you have their medicals, you have what they're going through adjustment-wise, and I think that's perhaps more valuable than a mid-tier prospect in trades. That being said, though, it goes back to the earlier point. Not to harp on it too much. I'm just in one of those moods, I guess. But if you're hedging your bets on the future on Marcus Stroman, a mid-30-year-old guy who gets below average whiffs, man, what the hell is going on here? You have to be in a position where you don't just have one Justin Steele, but you have him coming up, you have him throughout the rotation. You're having guys who can spell guys who had recent injuries like Tampa Bay Rays and losing all their Cy Young candidate guys. And I want to be in a position where, like the Rays, you're signing someone like Zach Eflin for $40 million because you see something that your pitching infrastructure can optimize. And that's what's happened for Zach Eflin. And the Rays, of course, are in a division contention yet again with many pitchers in their system. That's where I want to be. I hope we get in that position. But from right now, I don't think it makes sense to extend Stroman today, right now. I also know that this team needs pitching for next year, and I'm unsure where they get it if they don't extend Stroman. So it's a weird place to be. I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
Well, our guy Ryan, what's that?
So it's the general consensus.
Yeah, it's a ton of gray area, right? And that's what the trade deadline is, and it ultimately comes down to
how the team performs.
And comes down to Jed Hoyer's decision making, and
I say that they're 6 under right now. If they fall back to 10 under again, then I think I would move into the lane of trading Stroman and at least
I don't think, if you're going to put, if you're going to force me to make a decision, I don't think you trade either of those guys right now. I don't think I want that information. I want that in-house for the next 2 months. But also baseball, to your earlier point, Kevin, it's the dumbest sport. I can't believe that I was brought up in a baseball environment. This is torture for me. So with that being said, this team can turn it around, have a winning stretch, and they're right back in the division hunt because it's right there. And even despite all these problems, all of our depressing spouts over the months, like it could still work out. And that's the crazy part about this sport. I don't think you just give up that opportunity right now.
Yeah. 8-3, Red Sox beat the Cubs. Our guy Ryan Herrera was there.
He's going to join us here.
Popping in
a moment.
Going to get him on board here in just a second. I'm not sure, man. I'm disappointed in the loss, obviously, tonight, but I'm really trying to view it in a long-term view, kind of like Jed said. I don't really think that – I think it's one game. You got 16 more to go. There's still plenty of time to make up ground, and you're playing a good team right now.
It helped that Milwaukee lost, too.
Yes, a great point. Yeah.
Or that the Reds lost.
Yeah, Milwaukee won.
Milwaukee won. So they stay 7 back. Whatever.
And they got like real pitching issues too. They have an exciting young positional core, but they got some pitching issues. And Hunter Green has an injury right now, so it's still up for grabs.
Absolutely. Well, Brendan, thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm sorry that I was depressing, but that's just what I am right now.
I feel like when you do join, they all, like it is usually after a loss. However, they did win when you were here.
I know. That's the problem. That would solve all of our issues. I should just go out to Chicago tomorrow and just not leave and fix the Cubs to save our lives.
If the Cubs playing bad is the reason is because you are not here, then I have no choice other than to just blame you for all the pain and misery I've had to go through since March of 2022.
It is my fault. It is my fault. I'm sorry for existing. I'm sorry for everyone's suffering. And I will think about this tonight.
Brendan, you're the best. Thanks for joining us, man. It's always great to talk to you. Thanks for the insight.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.
See you, man.
The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future, Cody.
Yeah, Kevin and Ryan. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
How does that work?
Well, Kevin, let me tell you, an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz, Cody?
Yes, Kevin, schedule it today. All right,
Ryan
that was
Herrera,
the best part of the show.
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
It's a good little segue. Ryan Herrera joins us from the ballpark tonight. A windy and stormy Wrigley Field. Got out of there just in the nick of time, huh,
Hit
Ryan?
the like button for Ryan.
I mean, no, I'm still here.
Well, I mean, the game. I should have said game ended just in the nick of time, huh?
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly coming down. It was coming down for the last few innings, but obviously not hard enough to disrupt the game. There was a point in time where, like, the crosswind was so strong, there was just garbage on the field. Just blowing in from the stands, blowing out of the bleachers, and just flying onto the field. So, it was kind of a mess those last few innings. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about the game in a moment. I really am interested in this trade deadline stuff, and you got to talk to Jed Hoyer before the game. We heard him during the broadcast kind of reiterate some of the same things, go a little bit more in depth. We heard David Ross during the broadcast today talk about, hey, obviously we'd love to add. We really need some first base power. We really am lacking – some first base and third base slug, things like common things that we've talked about a lot on the show. But sitting there with Jed today, could you read through some of his thoughts and some of his vagueness?
Well, I think the one thing that he made pretty clear, and I mean, the position they're in is the position they're in. So all the words don't mean anything if they don't get better, right? But he makes pretty clear, and he's made it pretty clear the last few times they talked to him, that they obviously want to add. Like, the people that think this team is looking to tank again and looking to sell everything, that's not the goal of this season. That's not what the goal of the season's ever been. And so I think they are still looking for reasons to actually make additions to this team, whether that's even just smaller additions, a better bullpen arm, whatever it is. Like, it's not, they're not going to go all in and trade, got the farm system to try to win a World Series this year, I don't think. But they want reasons to not break up this club and kind of let them go the full 162. Today obviously wasn't one of those reasons. Kyle Hendricks gives it, 5 home runs, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, 4 home runs.
Four.
Gave up 4. 4 home runs for Kyle. Like, obviously his worst start since he came back. And the outside of Bellinger, the offense just didn't get anything going. Listening to Jed, it's very clear that the front office doesn't want to break up this team. They don't want to sell, whatever valuable pieces they have. They would much rather be closing in on a playoff hunt. They're talking about the marquee app, right? They want people to want to buy that and watch it. They want people to come to the sports book. They want people to care about a winning Cubs team, but they're just not getting right now.
That's what I've been trying to say the whole show. You explained it a lot better than I did earlier, but I got Gary in the chat calling me crazy for that.
Everyone's calling us both crazy, to be honest with you. But people call me crazy every day, so I'm used to it. It's all good. You just got used to it. You got to vibe with the people. Let them know, like, hey, I'm just a little weird. You guys are weird too. We're all here together, going through the pain and misery. And the good times. So, anyway, Ryan, Cody Bellinger, 2 homers tonight. Did you know that those homers only would have left beautiful, historic Wrigley Field?
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Only. And I was curious if you knew, like maybe if you had asked, if anyone had asked Bellinger, because me and Kevin were kind of laughing about it, the fact that both those homers only would have left Wrigley Field. So we thought because the wind, helped some of those Red Sox homers get out. I didn't know if maybe you had if anyone had talked to Bellinger about that or not.
No, I mean, I guess I didn't even look at the StatCast, like how many ballparks did this have left. No, that's the first time you telling me is kind of a surprise, but the wind was blowing out for a large majority of the game. Like, the Red Sox probably were helped a couple times by, the wind. I think Bellinger, one of them at least, fell into the basket. So that obviously was aided by the wind a little bit. Home run's a home run. They're not gonna, he's gonna take it, right? But no, we didn't talk about that specifically. But you see the wind blowing out all game today, and sometimes you feel good about that with a guy like Kyle Hendricks because he's more of a ground ball type pitcher. I guess historically, right? It was more of a ground ball type pitcher. But for a guy that pitches, he doesn't have velocity. He pitches to a lot of soft contact. On days like this, you can't miss. And Kyle Hendricks, he talked about that. He thought he made some really good pitches today, but there's some of the times that he missed, a guy like Rafael Devers took advantage of, right? 2 home runs, and 1 in the second, 1 in the third.
And that second one was just an absolute missile off the right field board. I mean, that ball left the yard in about half a second.
Yeah, he got a hold of it. He got a hold of both of his, I want to say. The wind helped. The wind helped for sure on some of those home runs, but it's just one of those days where a Kyle Hendricks that's missing some spots, plus the wind blowing straight out, equals just not a good day on the mound.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Kyle. The home run rate is usually he doesn't give up a ton of those. Obviously, a tough start tonight. Here's what we do know about this team right now, and because this is this is first show post All-Star break, we've heard a couple teams now come in and say, in the NL Central specifically, Brewers, Corbin Burns spoke to the media today, said the Brewers aren't trading me, we're looking to add. The Reds have said, we're going to add. The St. Louis Cardinals said, we are going to sell. The Pirates haven't said anything yet, not to my knowledge. So the Cubs are kind of in this leeway where they want to add too. And a guy like Bellinger, I don't know, just trading him when he's playing such great baseball right now, I guess it would make sense for a contender. And if the Cubs can get it, if they can get a bidding war going, guys who need a left-handed power bat, because obviously you can always use those in the postseason. But man, if the goal is to win, trading Bellinger, I mean, dude, he's playing so great right now. His OPS, Ryan, you tweeted it's like 1.14. since coming back or
His
something?
last 16
Some
games.
crazy.
I mean,
yeah,
he's
some crazy
just
last
playing out of his mind right now. Trading him
I think-
would suck the wind out of this fan base.
Well, I don't think that you're looking at him being traded like in the next few days or anything. I think unless the Cubs like lose every single game, like going forward right now, I think those decisions, like they're gonna try to take it as long as possible. So it could be, that weekend in St. Louis where some of these bigger trades actually go down because it's like it's gotten to the point where it needs to happen. I mean, if you get 2 weeks from now and Bellinger's still hitting this well, and the Cubs are in a position where buying or selling makes more sense, like they're too far out of the division, they're too far below 500. I mean, I'm going to disagree. I think you have to trade Bellinger if you're looking to recoup any value from that. I mean, Bellinger is a great clubhouse presence. Don't get me wrong. Great to talk to. Great, veteran guy that he's only 27, 28, but he's been around the game a long time. Knows how to win at this level. Knows how to, he was an MVP before. Like, he knows the trials and tribulations of succeeding at the major league level. Yeah, he's had his last couple seasons where he hasn't been as great, but he looks obviously a lot better this season. But I think if it gets down to it, you can't hold on to him if you're the Cubs. If it gets down to a point where you're in a position to sell versus buy, you have to trade him. And we talked about that on the show yesterday, where it's just like, it sucks that you really can't give a team 162 games, right? Because the trade deadline makes that impossible. You can't say we're going to give this team 162 games to figure it out, because when you get to the trade deadline, August 1st, you have to make a decision on what way you're going to go. If you're going to make some additions to the team, or you're going to sell some of the, get some value out of the guys that are on expiring contracts or whatever. That's the business, and that's the sucky part of it. But that's just, if that's where the Cubs are at, I can't sit here and say that in 2 weeks, if the Cubs are in a position to sell, they should still hang on to Cody Bellinger.
I think my take on it is it depends on how far back, right? Like, I think if they're at 500 or a game or two under 500, I think they're still right there with the Reds and the Brewers, and which then I think that they can still have a chance. And I think trading Bellinger is a bad move. But if they are
that's what I'm saying is if they're in a position to sell, like that's the whole.
Well, a lot of people think they're in a position to sell right now, so it's just like
they kind of are. Yeah, they have to improve. They have to get better. There's
right.
7 games.
I guess
500.
when you're 6 under, yes, I feel like you're more likely to sell than you are to buy. That's for sure.
6 under, 7 games back. Like, they have to be better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I just wonder what Cody Bellinger rental, the way he's playing right now, what that gets you. Because again, if the goal is to be better next year and the year after that, and you're getting a return from like mid-level guys, you have a great farm system now. You've rebuilt it. You have a top 10 farm system. It would have to be the return.
He's on a expiring contract, and he's not going to sign an extension. Like, Scott Boras is his agent. Like, he's not going to sign the extensions. Like, he's going to hit free agency. So whether you hold on to him for 2 more months or trade him, whichever route it goes, like, he's going to be a free agent, and I don't think he's going to give the Cubs a hometown discount if they hold on to him for 2 more months. Like, I don't see that coming when Scott Boras is your agent. So at any point you may lose, even if you hold on to him for 2 more months. There's still obviously a scenario where you lose him in the offseason anyway. So I think
it depends on what happens in those 2 months, though. Those 2 months would be crucial.
Just so what? He's going to hit free agency like that.
Well, it's crucial depending on the numbers that he puts up. He had that insane April, right? And he's been great in July, but he was hurt for a month. And I don't think he's earned a 7-8 year deal. I think he's earned maybe a 4 or 5 year deal, $25 million a year, whatever. Like, he's a mutual option for $25 million next year, which he won't take. But I'm just saying, like, he's gonna make the same money he potentially could make the same money that the Cubs were going to pay him anyway if he were to actually take that mutual option.
But what I'm saying is, regardless, he's going to hit free agency. So whether you trade him and attempt to re-sign him in the offseason, or you hold on to him for 2 more months and hit free agency, your chances of re-signing him are probably the same regardless of what route you take. So you can either risk losing him and whatever, but not get anything at the deadline. If you're in a position to sell, again, that's the proper context there, or you get some value back. He still liked his time here, obviously, and if you pony up, you might have a chance of re-signing him in the offseason. That's the way I look at it. I think as far as the business of baseball goes, they have to make the right decision depending on where they're at 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, man, I don't know. You're definitely right. He's not going to sign an extension. You're 100% right. Boris clients don't do that. So I guess it would make sense if you are, far enough out of it. But I don't know. Maybe that is the fan in me coming out a little bit. I have enjoyed watching him play baseball so much. It is so fun to watch a player that just does everything right. And it would take the wind out of all of our sails to see him get traded because that signals the white flag on the season. So hopefully we don't have to do that. Hopefully that they do add, like you said, they want to. Those comments from Hoyer did sound a little optimistic. But again, you got to start winning some games. And this is not an easy team. The Red Sox might be in last place in the AL East, but they're a damn good team. I mean, they're hitting the ball and just from being there today, last question for you, Brayan Bello, man, this kid looks legit. He looks really, really good. He looks like a homegrown young guy that's going to be around Beantown for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't obviously know much about him going to this game. I mean, the Cubs, obviously Bellinger still got him a couple times, but outside of that, the Cubs didn't do really anything against him. What would it be? Besides Bellinger, 6 hits, 1 run. He still struck out 5. Yeah, he's a solid pitcher. I don't know. I have no idea where his career trajectory goes from here. But coming out of a break, facing the Cubs at Wrigley Field in a weird game where the wind's blowing out, and is able to put together a quality start and keep the Cubs for the most part off the board. I think, yeah, this is a good game for him. I guess we'll see where it goes for him and what he does in Boston. But that's a solid performance from him today for sure.
I'm sorry I lied. One more thing.
You have one more thing?
One more thing. Were we going to see Dansby this series, you think, or no?
So he's not eligible to come off till Sunday anyway. Just from the sounds of it, they're still kind of evaluating him. They were doing that today, are going to continue to do that tomorrow. Ross kind of used the word hopefully as far as Sunday goes. I think my gut's telling me no. I don't know if he's going to be on the IL for a long period of time, but my gut's telling me he, just based on the what Ross kind of said today, my gut's telling me that he's probably not going to be ready to come off the IL on Sunday. We'll see how much longer that takes. If he does in fact not come off the IL on Sunday, obviously the Cubs for sure are hoping that he's not on the IL for much longer. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be a minimum stint to me. But we'll see how much longer it is after that.
All right. I hope the Cubs aren't in position to sell. That way I can forget about everything you said about Bellinger.
Who you got tonight?
That's where I'm ending that. Okay.
Who you got tonight? I don't think Bellinger should win because those were pop-outs in 29 of 30 ballparks. So I think Talkman should win.
No. Sorry.
Yeah, Bellinger's who you got tonight. I was just being a jokester. Yeah, Bellinger,
Kevin was
2
being
homers.
me for a second there. Yeah.
Talkman's the runner-up.
Gave him a run.
No, Morel's probably the runner-up, right? Morel had 3 hits and a
hits.
stolen base.
And stolen base.
So,
Mastroboni had 3 flyouts to the warning track, though. Just saying.
Cody, weren't you in between Mastroboni and Barnhart? And
yeah.
Barnhart had the 2 hits.
Barnhart hit a double, and I was like, damn it, I picked the wrong guy. I couldn't decide.
Yeah.
But I went with Mastroboni because he had the lowest batting average of the 2, and that's how I make my decisions. I take the worst player.
For sure.
Tucker Barnhart now hitting 208, I believe, on the season. So
big ups for Tucker.
He's above the Mendoza line, guys.
All right, Ryan, good stuff. Thank you for you're 20 and 62 now with the Bellinger pick. So your 20th win of the year. According to
You're tied with Luke Stuckmeyer.
Look at that.
Someone tell Luke, that way he starts sending picks again. He hasn't sent a pic since he went on vacation.
He's having himself quite the time.
He's not even checking his
Stucky,
phone
if you're
on
listening, we
vacation.
miss you.
Yeah.
He's too busy on the beach sipping pina coladas and enjoying not having to talk to us.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Did someone teach him how to use Threads yet?
Yes, he actually created a Threads account.
Luke Stuckmeyer has a Thread, so go give him a follow.
I don't even have a thread. And Luke has a thread?
Luke
Yeah.
has a Thread.
Well,
Sarah's the
God.
new Luke.
Our
Oh my
bosses kind of
God.
told us we had to. Corey's kind of
He
rebelling,
did?
but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like we were
I've
kind
been
of
avoiding
I guess
that.
we were kind of we were encouraged to, like, they encourage like all of the CHGO content people.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. It's kind of fun. Whatever.
Anyway. All right.
Ryan, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for popping in and joining us from the ballpark.
Sounds good, guys.
We'll let you get home safe.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Talk to you guys later.
Drive safe through that storm. Before we end the show, we forgot to do this, but DraftKings King of the Game,
Oh yeah, throw it on up.
which is clearly Cody Bellinger. This is once again a sign that Luke Stuckmeyer is needed on this podcast. Like,
Yeah, we
that
need
would,
him. We
we
need
would
him
have
back.
definitely kicked at least in the first segment, we would have talked about it, or at least
the king
but-
of the game.
Yeah, the king of the game. 2 homers tonight. OPS near 900 now. Batting over 300. I mean,
Yeah, he's a monster. He's their second best player.
I'm just, like, I understand where Ryan's coming from. I saw some of your comments in the chat, like, Ryan's being real, Cody, get over it, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I'm fucking tired of selling, dude.
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. I don't know how many times I'm allowed to say fuck on this show, but I'm fucking tired
I'm
of it.
so tired of seeing. Oh, Cody Bellinger would really look great in pinstripes from John Heyman.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of seeing those articles. He said that about Rizzo 2 years ago, and that's where he ended up.
When is this organization going to freaking just...
Yeah.
Like, even though this team isn't going to win the World Series, you're right about this team supposed to be, like,
they got
turning
talent,
the corner
man.
into 2024. This team should be better next year with PCA on the rise. You got better pitching prospects coming up next year. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I get it from a baseball business perspective, but trading away with Cody Bellinger only makes you have to fix another hole in the offseason. Trading Marcus Stroman only makes you have to fix a hole in the offseason. Why
Yeah, it just
not?
creates more
If
holes.
I'm not saying you have to extend them before the deadline. I'm saying, why don't you go ahead and figure out a contract with them in the offseason? They said, like, Stroman specifically said he wants to be here. Why wouldn't he want to be here? If you keep him, why wouldn't he want to be here in 3 months? Bellinger played well here. The Cubs gave him a shot after the Dodgers DFA'd him. You telling me that he's not interested in staying here? I know the money is a big part of it, but it's not like he's demanding $35 million a year. He's a Gold Glove outfielder and first baseman, basically, and is the best hitter on your team. Like, when are we gonna finally try to win baseball games, man?
And we haven't ruled it out yet. They might try and
full
buy.
162.
They haven't
I asked
ruled it
for
out.
meaningful games in September. That was my expectation, dude.
It's still possible. It's still possible. They lost tonight. It's still possible. Maybe we can get an education or take a couple classes from Lewis University about trade deadline business. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, there's your 2 rants for the night. I think I had one in the first segment, and there's one now. So
They're not sellers yet.
not sellers yet.
Not sellers yet.
I'm gonna say on this though, Lewis University students just like you guys, full-time jobs, families, full-time sports fandoms, go back to school to earn a respected degree at Lewis University, 35 miles southwest of Chicago and Romeoville, ranked as one of U.S. News and Report's top-tier colleges. Lewis partners with numerous employers for tuition discounts and offers evening, online, and blended formats to help you balance work, family, and education. Faculty bring real-world experience and instruction to the classroom, which is immediately relevant to your career. We offer career support and academic resources for adult students looking to complete your bachelor's or master's degree or enroll in a professional certificate program. Lewis has the right program for you. Lewis offers several career-focused programs that will set you up for success. We're just going to highlight one here. I say this every time. Computer science, data science, it will lead you straight into a baseball front office at some point in your life if you do that at Lewis University. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, but studying something like that could lead you into a baseball front office, in my
Be a
opinion.
pretty sweet job, too.
Yeah. So discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Learn more at lewisu.edu/you. Can do this. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, well, we are way over time. Thank you all for hanging out with us today in the chat, a Friday night hanging out with us. Thank you to Sarah for producing and spending an extra 20 minutes on this Cubs loss show and a bunch of rants, but they're not sellers yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Swear
They
to
lost
God,
today
if they get
8-3. You still have a chance to take the series behind your two best pitchers. Starting tomorrow, Stroman gets the ball, and then you're going up against the Big Maple. James Paxton gets the ball for the Boston Red Sox. The guys will be back with you on Monday, correct?
Corey and Brennan on Sunday.
Corey and Brendan Sunday.
Yep. And then, I'll be back on Monday. I don't know if Luke will be back yet. I don't know how long his vacation is, to be honest with you guys.
I miss Luke. I feel like I haven't seen him in forever.
It's a homestand, so it'll be me and whoever the hell is going to join me, because Ryan will be at the ballpark.
I'll definitely be in a couple times next week, so looking forward to it, man.
Okay.
Also,
Corey will be in. Jared will be back from vacation, too.
Sweet.
So
We had 963 comments this show.
wow.
That's a lot of
Look
mad
at us. Who
people.
would have thought?
That's a successful Cubs therapy session, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Again, Cubs lose 8-3 to kick off the second half of the season to the Boston Red Sox. Marcus Stroman goes tomorrow in Game 2. We will talk to you guys on Sunday, Corey and Brendan. Until then, fly the W.